Welcome in to the DNVR Rockies Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Lyons, and on a very special minor league Monday, of course, we will discuss our prospects of the week. We'll preview the series with the Boston Red Sox here. First time since 2019, these two teams are playing in Beantown, and really looking forward to here on the second segment, talking with Aaron McBride of Blake Street Banter. He's been breaking news, doing big things all around the baseball world, not just minor league baseball, but the baseball world in general. So super excited to talk with him. Big news of the day, maybe not that big, but Daniel Murphy signs a minor league deal with the Los Angeles Angels. We thought that was kind of the end of Daniel Murphy once his contract had expired after the 2020 season. Pretty much stepped away for 2 years. Then signed a deal with the Long Island Ducks, an independent baseball team of the Atlantic League, was playing really well, and said, you know what, he rekindled his love. We talked about this a couple weeks ago with Susie Hunter on the show. And so now the question remains, is he able to get back to the majors in the next week or so? Because LA will be coming to Coors Field on June 23rd through 25th. Not a bigger story than Ohtani or Mike Trout coming to Denver, but still an interesting one nonetheless. And the Rockies have a lot of interesting players right now up and down their minor leagues. Let's jump into their prospects of the week. In Triple-A, the man to get it done this week was Carl Kaufman. Now, the pitching line looks good, not great. 6 2/3 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. And you say, 5 earned runs? I get it, Patrick. It's the PCL. But here's the thing. He entered the 7th inning having only allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. Got an out, single, homer, out, homer. Then he hit the shower. So that really affected his line. Was able to go deep in that game, which was really nice. Honorable mention to a lot of relievers who had a good week, from Logan Allen, Ty Block, Blair Calvo, and Riley Pint. Props to him. Tip of the cap as an honorable mention, as he posted 4 scoreless innings. Cole Tucker did it on the offensive side. He's been really good since coming back from the IL. 3 doubles, 5 RBI, and got to mention Hunter Stovall. Another week of batting 300. I don't think we got a chance to talk about this on the post-game show on Sunday, but Jorge Alfaro did sign a minor league deal with the Rockies. Kind of important right now with Brian Serven being up with Colorado right now, and Bud Black carrying 3 catchers with Elias Diaz. Going through some things right now, a little bit banged up. He needs some time off, and the Isotopes need a catcher. So they signed Jorge Alfaro, who did homer in one of his 2 games. He's a 29-year-old backstop who was part of 2 really blockbuster deals for the Phillies. He came over for Cole Hamels, and then he went back out for JT Realmuto. In Double-A, you like to see Drew Romo starting to heat up a little bit at the plate. He's going to be a guy similar to Elias Diaz, where you say your job is to catch, is to call the game, work with your pitchers, work with the staff, and whatever you get offensively is a bonus. Well, there was a bonus this week for Romo. He had 2 doubles, hit a homer, 3 RBI, batted 400, 6 for 15. You like that. Honorable mention for pitcher. There weren't too many guys who had a good week with Hartford. You got to look beyond the numbers a little bit. And I would say that would be the case for Gabriel Hughes. We'll be talking with Aaron about him in just a moment. Did make his Double-A debut, 5 innings pitched, gave up 3 runs. In High A, you've heard this name now 2 weeks in a row, Yankiel Fernandez. Is he ready to go up to Hartford? Perhaps. I don't know what else he's got to prove. He was 11 for 28 this week with 3 doubles, a triple, a home run, 13 RBI, also a stolen base. Again, seems very much ready for that next level to rejoin Warming Bernabel. All those guys together are very exciting for the Rockies' future right now. Benny Montgomery had a homer, 6 RBI. Jordan Beck, 2 homers, 5 RBI. Another guy who might be ready for that next level. One of the better numbers, again, that I talked about last week is strikeout to walk ratio. That's important for pitchers to have it really low. A lot more strikeouts than walks. Same thing is true for the hitters. Jordan Beck last week, he walked 7 times, only struck out 4. On the pitching side, Blake Adams did it again. 7 innings pitch, a rarity in minor league baseball, especially this early in the season. 6 hits, only gave up 1 run. Did not walk anyone. He struck out 6 as well. Props to Anderson Beto, who had an okay week. Didn't walk anybody, but did strike out 8. And then we got to talk about a guy who kind of slipped through the cracks a little bit, I think, for both the Phillies and for the Rockies in a sense. I'm sure our guy Aaron here knows a lot about him already. But Jamari Baylor, now he was acquired in May from the Phillies for cash considerations in a trade. He was a third-round pick by the Phils back in 2019 out of a Richmond, Virginia high school. He's about to turn 23. He's in low A, but this was his first week with the Fresno Grizzlies, and he did very well. 8 for 14, 3 homers, 12 RBI, 3 stolen bases, 6 walks to 5 strikeouts. So Jamari Baylor is a name you might want to keep your eye out on. Ryan Ritter, Skylar Messenger, both homered. Ritter's was a walk-off winner in the 11th inning of a 14-13 game against the Padres' low A affiliate, Lake Elsinore. And on the pitching side, Michael Prosecki, nice job. 6 innings pitched, did not give up a run. 2 hits, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. Again, strikeout to walk ratio really huge for both hitters and pitchers. And Connor Stain and Caleb Franzen also did a really nice job in their starts this week, and we're doing a really nice job. It's jumping. I'm at home right now because if you're watching on the DNVR Sports Channel, you can see that I've got my sheet of 1987 Topps cards framed behind me. I am trying to give as much space as possible to the folks at the DNVR bar on the corner of Colfax, New York, because it is already jumping here at 1:00 Mountain Daylight Time. That's all about the NBA Finals. Game 5, if you can't get a ticket to the game, come down to Baby Ball, $10 to get in. That also covers the cost of one Breckenridge Brew beer. It's absolutely fantastic. And if you're a diehard, that's the biggest key. You're getting in for free. You're also getting 15% off your food and drink at the bar, 20% off all the merchandise at dnvrlocker.com, 20% off all the takeovers like the one we had on Saturday against the Padres at Coors Field. That was absolutely amazing. So make sure you get yourself signed up over at thednvr.com. And make sure you check out Saturday Neon. Now, this is a company started by 2 friends at CU Boulder, right? They were college roommates, and they make officially a licensed collegiate logo LED signs. They go from small, still a pretty good size, they might call it small, to gigantic, like 3 foot by 3 foot. It's amazing. They've got University of Colorado, as well as CSU Rams, Arizona, Alabama, Wisconsin, Auburn, many other officially licensed for 19 different Division I schools. Look, they make great eyepieces, great stationary pieces. They make a statement. They're statement pieces for your office, for your man cave, dorm rooms, basement, bar area, you name it. Head over to SaturdayNeon.com, and when you do, use code DNVR for 10% off your order today, and you're going to get yourself some free shipping for any orders over $200. Make sure you head to breckbrew.com, go to the Breck Brew locator, find out where you can get an Avalanche Ale, whether you are in the Denver area, whether you're in Colorado, whether you're in the Rocky Mountain region, or if, God forbid, you're someone who's crazy enough to be watching our show from the state of Michigan, for a random example. But yes, folks in Michigan, you can get Breck Brew somewhere nearby, get an Avalanche Ale when you do so, and go to the Breck Brew locator at breckbrew.com, because it's a Colorado company with Colorado ingredients made with 100% renewable energy. Well, speaking of crazy folks from the state of Michigan, the craziest Michigander I know, maybe the only Michigander I know, is Aaron McBride of Blake Street Banter. Aaron, long time coming. Love to have you here on the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. It's good to be here. Like, this has been some time coming, so I'm just stoked. It's going to be good.
That's great. Yeah, I've been on your podcast a bunch of times. I think this is your first time with us, and so many things to talk about. But let's go maybe start chronologically. Most recent, yesterday was a big day for Coco Montes. I know you love to see that. But you guys also, I don't know what the secrets are. Maybe you can share it because you've been breaking a lot of news lately. Y'all were the first ones to say, hey, Rockies Nation, nudge, nudge, elbow, elbow. Coco Montes, a guy who's not even on the 40-man roster, is going to get added and should be making his major league debut on Sunday. Big day for you guys getting that scoop.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting for us. Nobody's up in Michigan, right? It was pretty cool being able to break news for a team that I've loved since the beginning. I will not share my secrets. That is hush hush, but it is pretty cool, especially being Coco. I mean, he's a family of the pod for you all. He's a friend of a pod for us. Like, he's been one of our very first banter sessions that we did, and we've been on that Coco train since the beginning. And so him finally getting that nod, and I think you and I might have talked about it a little bit off the record about when was the last time a non-top 30 prospect, non-40 man guy beyond Sean Bouchard actually got that call, and Coco was that next name. And he did a full season plus in Albuquerque, just raking. But I'm on record quite a bit of time saying he's the best second base defender in the system right now. So just one of the guys that was nice enough to spend their time talking to us, doing their thing and grinding, and then finally getting that nod is pretty cool. And then being able to break the news for that is even cooler. So it was a big day in BSB world yesterday. It was fun. It was lots and lots of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, Coco came through for you guys with the multi-hit game. I don't know if you saw this stat. Coco's like the 6th player ever, at least since 1920 when the RBI became an official stat, to have a multi-hit day, multi-RBI, and a home run that was either the game tying or a go-ahead home run, the last since Cabrian Hayes. So that was fantastic. So again, for anyone that doesn't know, Blake Street Banter, you guys cover the minor league system for the Rockies, and you do it, incredibly well each and every day. There's video clips up. You got the podcast that comes out every week, sometimes more. You're looking at the draft. You're looking at the players that were just selected in previous drafts, and you're actually talking to players as well. Where did this idea come from? What was the brainchild of Aaron McBride? How did you guys get started? What was the impetus? What was the genesis of Blake Street Banter?
I mean, you've heard the story plenty of times, but COVID gave us a lot of time on our hands. So me and the original 2, Kirk, who's no longer doing stuff with us, still a friend though, and James, who hops on and off every once in a while, were the 3 that spearheaded a Rockies podcast because we were bored and just wanted something to talk about. And then obviously that's really hard to do. So we needed to find our niche. And our boy Dugan Darnell, he's really the one that kind of helped us find our groove at this minor league niche that we got. I mean, there wasn't really a market. Like nobody was really giving minor league Rockies news in 2020. It was there. It was kind of a thing. So Dugan Darnell, he signed a free agent contract with the Rockies. We reached out to the DMs like, yo, we have a podcast for nobody. Do you want to come and talk to us? He said, sure. And then we're like, all right, so this works. And so we've just been kind of building up, just going to bat, so to speak, for our dudes, for the guys that talk to us, and then really just honing in on this minor league stuff. And dudes like Tyler, who writes for us, is on the podcast pretty much every week with me. Got some talent there. Nick, who, if you want to talk college baseball and you want to get into it, Nick is that guy. We got Lewis and Noah on the writing staff now. Just a lot of talented people out there that just want to do fun things and cool things, and that's kind of our MO. Let's just go do cool things. Whatever it is, make it fun, and if it's too much, take a step back. And so our MO is having fun with these minor league guys, telling their stories, and it's been fun to share that stuff. And yeah.
And I love that as you guys are building this brand, that you're giving opportunities to other people as well to say, hey, all right, if this is an area you maybe want to cover, sure, we can allow you to get on the pod, see how you do, and you have open tryouts in a sense. I mean,
right.
That's nice because you're right there. I think the Rockies, minor league affiliates, we cover it, of course, and as you guys do, but still there's room for probably even more of that. And on the national stage, I think, sometimes there are periods where maybe the Rockies prospects or the farm system in general, might get overlooked somewhat slightly. Yeah. But even more so from some of the things that I've heard from a lot of scouts and a lot of people on the inside is that the Rockies themselves, they don't pump their prospects up quite as much. They might value them very highly, but a lot of other teams will say, hey, let me give you all the information that we have on this player, and you use it accordingly. And of course, we give you mostly the good stuff, but they don't pump their guys up. In fact, I think even in the Arizona Complex League, the Rockies and maybe the Angels are the only teams that don't put names on the backs of their players' jersey, almost like to keep them hidden, not even to advertise them to advertise. We don't want to advertise them to the 25 people that are even in the ballpark watching this game on the backfield.
Yeah.
So I think it's an important place for you guys, to have. And I know recently you went on a little scouting mission to to beautiful, sunny Akron, Ohio to watch some of the Hartford Yard Goats. What was that experience like for you, Aaron?
It was definitely a fan experience. I went there with the idea like, all right, I can drive there. Let's go and just go be a fan. I was not scouting, wasn't doing any of that. No content. But it was a kind of like, okay, this is real. Got to see 5 or 6 guys that came on the pod. Got to actually meet them in person. Got some of them got a T-shirt. Um, it was just fun to see, making this connection from Michigan via Zoom, where I'm not able to see any of these Rockies affiliates in person. So like being able to actually have that happen was pretty dope. And like meeting Dugan Darnell, got to talk to Shelby Lackey and Blake Goldsberry a little bit, and Braxton Fulford, like that story I'm sure you'll ask about, so I'll let you set that up. But it was fun. It was really cool, and can't say enough about the Akron Rubber Ducks Stadium and their staff. Everybody was super super cool, super chill. Definitely a good time, and I would go back even if the Rockies affiliate wasn't there. Akron, the city, once the construction is done, I'm sure it's a beautiful city. I think I got lost 5 or 6 times because the exits and the construction going around. But if you're in the Midwest, you know what that's like in the beginning of summertime.
That's it. There's 2 seasons. There's winter and then construction season.
Pretty much.
That's
It was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Hartford's probably a good place to start, because when you were there last weekend, you were witness for 2 promotions, one that was on the record and one that was, again, another thing that you broke. You actually got to see Braxton Fulford and got the full Fulford experience.
Right.
And then also saw Gabriel Hughes and maybe his mom dropping him off at work.
That one, yeah, let's start with the Gabe one. That was crazy. So we're waiting there. Bobblehead night is 90s night in Akron, right? And so the sister from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I can't remember her name, but she was there doing the signing thing. And she was there. So there's a bobblehead. I have one in the box, maybe. No, I won't. But it's there. So we're waiting in line to get there, and that was the day I was gonna get there early and talk to the fellas. And all of a sudden, this dark black Gladiator Jeep pulls up, and this massive of a human jumps out, like white t-shirt, shorts, just kind of nonchalant. Like it kind of looks like Gabriel Hughes, but there should be like a little bit more hidden or something. No, dropped off right in front of the Akron gate. And so that's when I tweeted from the BSB account. I was like, all right, I'm 95% sure Gabriel Hughes is here in Akron. And then he pulled out 2 duffel bags, the 2 big baseball bags that you see all the kids and stuff doing. Like, all right, that's definitely Gabriel Hughes. And so like 5 minutes later, like 100% sure that Gabriel Hughes is here. And I just went for it. Didn't talk to anybody, didn't confirm it. That was just the gut reaction. It's like, yeah, that's supposed to happen. And then talked to some of the fellas again, like, so that's Gabe, right? And they're like, yeah, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, and probably shouldn't say it out loud here, but no names. But they confirmed it, and I guess he was supposed to arrive the night before. He's supposed to be there Friday. Like Sterling Montfort was at Akron too. I didn't get a chance to see him or talk to him. But that was just wild, like full circle. All right, there he is, and I'm here, so let's just kind of go with it.
That's very cool. Yeah. And then with Fulford, I mean, he had just gotten called up
Yeah.
from Spokane, and you liked what you saw and then some, right?
Yeah, that home run was sick. So it was Friday night, just chit-chatting. It was the first time I met Nick. Nick's from the Akron area. It's got to finally meet somebody that's contributing. We're just sitting out on the third base line on the corridor, and Braxton's up, second, third inning, just crushes one straightaway center. I'm like, holy crap, that's awesome. That's our guy. We literally just released the banter session a week ago, and he's here. I'm seeing it. First Double-A home run. Let's go. And so I talked to Doug. I remember Doug was the usher. Like, hey, who do I talk to get back there? I need that ball. He's like, I don't know, but I can send you to customer service. And then that's where I found Roy, the assistant VP. He's like, I can go out there, but it's fireworks night, and letting you know about fireworks night, they don't let anybody out there. And I was like, crap, okay, so fun. So got Roy's number, checked in with him a little bit later, and nothing came of it. It was the end of the game. We saw the fireworks, fantastic firework display. They did to Green Day, like 5 or 6 Green Day songs, and it was all on point with the blast and the music, so it was cool. And it's like, well, we're here. We're walking distance from the hotel. So me and my friend that I went down there with, we're like, all right, let's just wait and go see what we can do. Waited long enough for the fireworks area to be cleared. Got the okay to go look, but there's no ball. It's very clear where the ball goes. Like you can see the home run straightaway center, out in the bushes. It gets stuck against the fence in the building. Not there. So we talked to another guy who's cleaning up the fireworks. Rod. I'm like, yo, balls, do you know anything about him? He's like, yeah, I always pick them up. I always take them back to my kids and they play with it. I probably have it over here. And so he walked us to his car. It was right there. He had 4 or 5 baseballs in the trunk. 3 definitely were there for a long time. 1 wasn't. Had to have been Braxton's ball. So got the ball. Got to get to Braxton Saturday. And his mom said he said his mom was going to be pretty stoked. So I guess she holds on to the memorabilia for all that. So Braxton has his first Double-A home run, or at least his mom does soon.
That's awesome. That's what serious commitment right there.
Yeah.
I mean, now you got to have a personal fireworks guy on retainer here in case for the big Blake Street Banter parade. It's going to be.
You never know what's going to happen.
Are you guys planning on adding pyrotechnics to the live streams here now, or what's the story?
We don't have time for that. We barely have time for live stream. We barely know what we're doing. We did our first one today. Went pretty well. So let's just roll with that for now. No fireworks just yet.
There you go. Very cool. So, we talked a lot on Sunday's postgame show about the young guys. It's kind of plan B with everyone getting hurt. They're getting a lot more playing time. And I know that's really great to see. And we'll be talking about that like all season long. But the minor leagues is kind of our focus for today. Coco Montes was a guy, as you mentioned, top 30 prospect, nowhere to be seen. And yet he put up at every single stop along the way. He led the Eastern League in RBI in 2021. And where did he start 2022? Back at the Eastern League. What's going on with that? So sometimes guys can even get overlooked in their own organization. For you, are there any guys, and maybe there's not so many in Triple-A, but who are some of the other prospects that you guys feel, or at least you feel directly that, maybe get overlooked, and this guy might not be an all-star. He might not be a first round pick, but could come up and contribute and do something and say, hey, there's something here. Might not be, again, not an all-star, but could really be something. And I would bet good money that they're going to be part of the 23,000 big leaguers who've ever, made it to the show.
Yeah, that's a fun question. And that's definitely what we try to do too. Like you kind of said earlier, everybody knows the top 30, but who's beyond that? I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about our boy, Dugan Darnell. He's insane. His story is absolutely incredible, but dude, man, can do it. He's 25 innings this season, 1.2 whip. You got the 1.8 ERA, 37 strikeouts in those 25 innings. He gets the jobs done. He's 12-6, a lot of big curveball, big fastballs, throws in a cutter every once in a while, but he knows how to get guys out. If you go look at his not so hot 2022 in Hartford, he got some growing pains and figured out, all right, I got to be a pitcher instead of just a thrower. And he talked about that with us a little bit in the offseason. Just, all right, I went down to Australia, worked on some things, and here I am. And I would imagine he's knocking on the door for that Triple-A call-up here soon. I have a theory about the Triple-A, all the call-ups in the minor league system. But I think Dugan's going to be at the top of that. Another guy who often is overlooked, but he shouldn't be, is Hunter Stovall. Yeah. He is that Coco Montes mold. The Rockies seem to like him. They traded him away and then brought him back as a free agent after he was with the Reds, I think, for a little bit, or the Phillies for a little bit. But dude, man, he's a grinder. Like, we heard how hard Coco Montes works, and Coco Montes works very, very hard. But Hunter Stovall he's the Altuve body type, to put that in perspective so people know who we're talking about. But he just produces, and he can pick it. He can do whatever you want him to do. Like Friday night, he had this insane double play at second base. Not a so good throw by Aaron Schunk, but Stovall got it, did that whole Jeter-esque spin, turn, money to first base to get the double play. That was incredible. And he can hit. He can do everything you want. He's starting to hit for power. I think he had 2 home runs this past week. He filled in very nicely. Like when Tovar was injured in 2022, Hunter Stovall was putting up better numbers than what Tovar was doing in that absence. Granted, he's a little bit older and he's a little bit more experienced with all that. However, he still produced. He's producing, and when he gets a chance, and this is why I'm bringing it up now, when he gets a chance in Albuquerque, he's producing when he can. 829 OPS on the season, those 20 RBIs, 3 home runs, 9 doubles, and limited 146 at bats. You want a grinder, you want somebody that's going to go out there and do it. Dustin Pedroia might be a better comp type feel. Hunter Stovall is that guy, and he deserves every recognition. And when he gets that call, nobody's going to be screaming louder from the rooftops than we are.
Yeah. Darnell and Stovall are good picks. I mean, Dugan Darnell, for anyone that is interested in learning more about, or even saying, okay, who's Blair Calvo? Right. I mean, older guy, right? Didn't debut until 27 years old. And you say he's a reliever. Okay. He's a guy who got to the show out of Flagler College, and Dugan Darnell kind of fits that mold too, where you say, hey, look, you can't have enough arms in the bullpen. So he's incredibly valuable. And you're right. Yeah. His time for Albuquerque will be very soon. And Stovall, absolutely grinder and great teammate. I mean,
yeah.
I actually had talked to him in 2019, right when he first got traded over to the Phillies, when he was with Lakewood, now Jersey Shore Blue Claws. And got to know him just a little bit. And even at the beginning of last year, 2022, Brenton Doyle said, oh, man, a huge guy that helped my growth, at some of the lower levels of the minors, and a guy who doesn't get it as enough credit is Hunter Stovall. So he is one of those guys where he'll get an opportunity. He'll have that cup of coffee, if not longer. But I think he will. And if it doesn't come this year, and if it doesn't come with the Rockies, somebody will, identify that and say, hey, this guy deserves a chance. He deserves an opportunity. He does a great job with a lot of academies and loves to coach. So I think those are two solid picks. We talked a lot about the yard goats, guys that are a little bit closer to the majors. Drew Romo was our Double-A prospect of the week. Looked really good at the plate this past week. Have you had any concerns, or maybe are you just reevaluating the projections for Drew Romo with what he's gone through last year, a little bit more so because of an injury to the hand? This year, he's been relatively healthy, but between Romo and Zach Veen, are you concerned, or are you just maybe adjusting your mental projections on there, or no, not at all? They're just going through those typical growing pains that players have to go through in the upper levels of the minors.
So I'm going to preface with this. It's these guys are 20 years old and they've never had to experience failure before. They've never had to figure out how to work through that failure. And I think that's huge with what we're seeing with Zach Veen and Drew Romo. Drew Romo in particular, not so hot 2022 season, then getting injured and then not finishing very strong up in the Northwest League. But you still have that number 3, number 2 top prospect in the system. And then you go to the Eastern League, which I believe is probably one of the most difficult leagues to just do cool things in. And he's kind of getting that taste right now. I would say I would be a little bit worried. There is definitely a connection from what I'm seeing, very amateur analysis, from the connection between the not hitting very well to the defensive part. They are connected because his defense, I would say, hasn't been as rock solid as advertised, but I believe that is part of that growing pain, how to separate the two. Like Braxton Fulford, when he talked to us, he mentioned that he was terrible at hitting in 2018 when he's in the CWS, and he was an 18-year-old, couldn't hit worth a lick, but he was that defensive catcher that had to keep it together. And that's when he got to figure it out. He got to figure it out as an 18-year-old on the biggest stage that you could possibly have as an 18-year-old. Drew Romo's never had that. And I think he's having that moment right now, trying to figure that out. And you kind of see it. That home run he hit yesterday, that was a hitter's home run. I knew it was coming. I knew it was there, and I'm going to crush it down this right field line and just sneak it in the foul pole. That was a good hitter's home run. I think you see that from last week. Zach Veen, not as much worried about it. He's still got the bat to ball skills. He can do other things really, really well. Like the being on base, causing chaos. He has professional at bats every time he's up. Not seeing that so much from Drew. Not saying he doesn't have it in him. Just I think Zach Veen's a little bit farther ahead in that element at this moment in time.
Yeah, and although they're the same age, Drew Romo is a lot younger in the sense that he's a
Yeah.
catcher, man. Catchers do not, make debuts before like the age of 24. Again, there's those exceptions, and we'll wait and see if Padres catcher Ethan Salas can break Pudge Rodriguez's record of debuting at age 19 or younger. But yeah, that's another key element. Like catching it's just a completely different position. It's almost another sport entirely in and of itself, where you're learning that and learning your pitchers. So it's going to take him longer. The fact that he's even there at the same level of Veen, I think, says a lot about his growth in general in the game. Have you guys started looking into the 2023 MLB draft yet? Rockies, of course, have the 9th overall selection. That's the honorary Rockies pick, right? It's been 8th, or rather 9th with Veen. 8th with Montgomery in 2021, and then you had 10th last year with Gabriel Hughes. So they're always between 8 and 10. That's, I guess, a typical middling kind of club. Do you have any favorites? It's hard to know who's going to fall to them, but are there any guys that you've been looking at or discussing to think and say, hey, you know what? Wouldn't mind this guy in purple.
Yeah. So this is definitely Tyler's forte. Rocks don't rake on Twitter. I'm just gonna kind of say his words for him, I guess here. He's got a few guys, top college arms. There's a few that he really likes. It's the Rhett Lauder, the Dollander, and Waldrop. Those are definitely the top 3. And I think we're going to see a Rhett Lauder in our being able to get at that number 9 spot, or Chase Dollander. I personally would love Waldrop. I think Tyler's big on Rhett Lauder. Just both insane college arms, very, I think, ready for that next level, kind of Gabriel Hughes-esque type piece. And then as far as the hitters go, we'll be dropping a blog on that in a little bit, I think later this week. So spoiler alert. But he's got Zach Wilson, Kyle Teal, Jacob Gonzalez, and Enrique Bradfield as possible. He's big on the kid from Stanford. Can't remember his name right now, but the second baseman from Stanford's got a big stocky, can hit for power, crazy bat speed. I think Tyler's kind of leaning the Rockies might look at that kind of bit.
Yeah. Are you thinking that they like to say they go the best available player, but do you think they should maybe be targeting more pitching, since that seems to be, they're a little bit behind, the hitters right now in general, as far as the future, the next couple of years? Do they need to get one of those 3 guys, like you said, Hurston Waldrop to the University of Florida, Rhett Lauder from Wake Forest, or Chase Dollander, who maybe he's the best of the class, but he's got his flaws too. He could fall down to them at 9 at University of Tennessee. Do you think they need to get one of those 3 guys if they're available, or again, just the quote unquote best player available?
I mean, it'd be weird if they didn't grab one of those pitchers. I mean, if you look at that Spokane Indians lineup, you're 5-6 deep hitting wise. You don't need another college bat. Granted, it would be fantastic to have another Jordan Beck or Sterling Thompson on the roster, right? But Hunter Goodman to that list. But you go through the Rockets. I think you came in our pod with K-Dub, and we're all super stoked about the starting pitching depth that the Rockies had going into the season. And then that has not come to fruition so much. There's some injuries involved, like Joe Rock and Case Williams, but there's also some performances not quite meeting the standard that we kind of expected. So with the success that we're seeing from Gabriel Hughes, why not take one of these arms that are polished and ready to go to add to that depth? I think it'd be insane if they didn't take a pitcher. I think Tyler would concur with that piece. It's just the Rockies have holes in his starting pitching. It's not a corner outfield or a middle infielder.
Yeah, we've got a piece coming up this week on the DNVR.com about our next kind of mock draft of a couple players that they could be looking at. And the top 5 of the draft is pretty much set. And then after that, there's a lot of high school hitters that I don't know that they want to go that route. Maybe more so that way than the high school pitchers. I think they may have sworn off high school pitchers outside of the first round or 2. I know Jackson Cox was a high upside guy, but they had already kind of squared away 3 of the college players. So that will be interesting to see in general where they go. That's coming up during the All-Star festivities. I want to say Sunday, July 10th in Seattle. I'll actually be there for that. So that will be that'll be exciting to see what they're able to do and continue to add to that depth that's very far down. And to your point, there's been some injuries and some lack of performances. So you just can't have enough pitching in the majors, and certainly not enough in the minors. Aaron, go ahead and plug away. Loved having you on. We'll definitely do it again. We'll talk some more when you get to Colorado here. We'll not only have you on the pod, we'll have you in studio. We'll also get you a nice Adirondack chair to sit in front of the stadium to see who's going to pop out of what Uber and is going to be making their debut, because now you've got a role here, a very valuable role.
It's just kind of that aura, right?
That's it.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I'll talk to management, see if we can get out to Denver here in a little bit, but that would be sweet. I mean, just follow us on the Blake Street Banter, our podcast. You can find it on any platform, Blake Street Banter. We're starting to do some live shows. This is going to be the summer of Blake Street, in Patrick's words. This is our summer. We're going to try to take this off to the next level. Just find us. We have some banter sessions coming up. We're going to talk to Noah Davis, Jared Candy, got Ben, terrible plug, the Triple-A pitcher Bywater, coming up on coming up on Thursday. It's Thursday, so we have some banter sessions coming up. We have a lot of, that's our fun stuff. A lot of draft coverage is going to be popping up on the BSB. No offense to you, Patrick, you do a great job, but I don't know if anybody really does it better than Tyler does for us. So he's going to ramp this up, and we'll start doing some BSB draft stuff coming up here soon. So just find us on all the socials there.
And there's links to the Substack, so you can also, again, there's also written content too as well for Blake Street Banter. So you guys are crushing it out there and in here and everywhere around the United States. We're all of the banterers. Do you have a proper name if you work for Blake Street Banter? What are you?
I was trying to come up with that earlier, and nothing came out. But I think banterers might be the way to go with that.
Could be. Well, just so you know, I have officially jumped onto the Bant wagon because I love what you guys do. So, Aaron, thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks, bye.
Oh man, he was great. So many great young guys to talk about who are developing their game, getting better and better. It sounds a lot like the American Raptors professional rugby right here in our backyard in Glendale, Colorado at Infinity Park. Seriously, these are guys who are learning the sport. They're big time professional athletes. We're talking about baseball players, basketball, track and field, football. They're learning the sport. They're not traditional rugby players, but they are athletes, and they are learning the game. You can actually learn along with them when you head over to AmericanRaptors.com. You can get tickets for their games. Children under 12 are free. Otherwise, tickets are just $10. It's a really good time to get outdoors, get that vitamin D. You can actually watch a lot of their games online as well on ESPN+. So head over to AmericanRaptors.com and check out our DNVR Rugby podcast with Colton Strickler. He's got the 101s where he's going to break down little things from the sport, as well as having some really great interviews. That's American Raptors and AmericanRaptors.com. I don't have my shades on me right now because that would really set off I think this look that I've got going on today. I got a new pair coming to me because I bought one and now I'm going to get one free. That's the promo right now from Shady Rays. It's really cool. Use promo code DNVR to get one free. You can also head down to the Park Meadows Mall and you'll get 50% off when you buy 2 or more pairs of Polaroid sunglasses. It's an independent sunglass company that are keeping the prices really low. And they're also guaranteeing that if you happen to lose or break your shades, they are going to replace them for you. It's fantastic. And if you don't like how you look, if you're just getting something online and you're leery of that, don't worry, because when you get it in, if you don't like it, you can just return it within 30 days. You get your full money back. But we know you're going to love it because their styles are universal, all the different styles, whether it's more athletic or more leisurely or it's a professional look. Shady Rays has got it. Head over to shadyrays.com. Make sure you use promo code DNVR to buy one and get one for free. We've got the 2007 World Series rematch. What's going on with the Boston Red Sox right now? Well, Trevor Story is not going on right now. You may remember he had the internal bracing procedure done on his right elbow, right? There was a lot of conversation in 2021 about, man, his zip from shortstop. It's just not quite firing. Yeah, had some issues in there. He may be back before the end of this season. He could go the Bryce Harper route and be a DH only player for Boston, which they're hanging in there right now during the AL East and what was a somewhat of a transition year, not a transition year of we're going from good to bad or rebuilding in general, just a lot of turnover on that roster. And it'll be interesting if Story can actually get himself back into playing shape. I'm really looking forward to tonight's broadcast on AT&T Sportsnet. Is Trevor Story going to be in the building? Will he be talking with members of the media? That'll be interesting to see. Rafael Devers is that guy right now. During the offseason, he signed a 10-year, $313.5 million deal to keep him in Boston for the next decade. He's only 26 years old. Seems like he's been around for a while too, but really after losing out Xander Bogaerts, him going to San Diego, a couple other kind of misreads by the front office, they had to do something to get some positive publicity. So they lock up Rafael Devers. Keep in mind that Devers, again, he was on the precipice of becoming a free agent, signs a 10-year deal that only Ezequiel Tovar, 21 years old, and Nolan Jones and Brenton Doyle are younger than Rafael Devers from Colorado's starting lineup. So he's the guy right now in the middle of that lineup. Old friend Justin Turner. You thought that he was gone out of the division, right? Sure, he's no longer a Dodger, but he's in Boston. He's having a solid year. Maybe not all-star, but he is 38 years old, doing well. Adam Duvall also fresh off the injured list for Boston. This is going to be the 8th time ever Rockies and Red Sox lock horns during the regular season. First time in Boston since 2019. You may remember one of those games, Chris Sale striking out 17 hitters. Unbelievable. Rockies have never been swept in Boston. They did lose, they've never been swept by Boston. They did lose 2 games in 2013 and split 2 at Coors Field that year. Otherwise, you know what? They should be able to come away with at least a win during this 3-game set. Crunch the numbers. When the Rockies have given up 3 runs or less at Fenway, they're 5-1. When they've given up 5 or more runs, they're 0-7. So got to keep the run total down for the Red Sox. Not breaking news. We know that, but particularly at Fenway, they've got to be able to do that. On the offensive side, when they score 5 or more runs, they're 4-2. When they score 4 or less, they're 1-6. So basically, if they're going to win a ball game, it's probably going to be like a 5-3 score. It's going to be a 5-3 win in general. Also in 2019, the Rockies struck out 24 times during that Chris Sale game. That was an 11-inning contest. That's the most they've ever struck out, tied for the most in one game. So hopefully they'll be able to see the ball a little bit better out of Red Sox pitchers' hands. That game was only 3 hours and 42 minutes. Wild to think you could play 11 innings in 3:42. It certainly felt a lot longer than that. Michael Kadire is the only Rockies player with a multi-homer game at Fenway as a member of the Rockies. He hit 2 back in 2013. Makes sense, maybe kind of mind-blowing, I don't know, but only 37 players have ever recorded a hit at Fenway as a member of the Rockies. I would have guessed the number was maybe a little bit more than that for how many times that they've played against each other. Not a ton, but still enough for there to be more than 37 guys. Helton has the most with 6, Cargo and Arenado with 5. The list of players with 4 hits at Fenway, kind of fun. Charlie Blackmon, DJ LeMahieu, Mark Reynolds, and then Yorvi Torrealba. How about that? Dante Bichette, Andres Galarraga, Vinny Castilla, 3 members of the Blake Street Bombers, Els Burks even, never got a hit as a Rocky. That, of course, is because Rockies did not go to Boston until 2002, until interleague play really became more truly about playing all the teams in the American League. Now they will go to Boston every other year. So if you're not there in Boston now in 2023, mark your calendars. 2025 will be that next one. Pitching matchups, we've got James Paxton against Connor Siebold today, Cutter Crawford against Chase Anderson on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, to be announced, might be Garrett Whitlock. We'll see if he's going to end up going to the bullpen against Austin Gomber. Connor Siebold, though, was a player who was designated for assignment by Boston during the offseason, and had they allowed him to slip through waivers, the American League gets dibs first. When a player gets designated for assignment or gets waived in this way, their league gets a choice first, and I very much think that Boston was worried the Yankees would pluck one of their own guys out from beneath them. So the better solution was to actually just trade him away. Rockies receiving Connor Siebold in that deal. And so an article just went up live about the return to Fenway Park by both Connor Siebold and Daniel Bard. Daniel Bard coming back to Boston and Fenway Park for the first time in a decade, a first time since it basically fell apart for him. And he talks about that excitement, maybe a little bit of those nervous emotions and feeling. Is he going to get a video package? He talks about that. Has he ever signed inside the Green Monster? Visiting players do it all the time. Did he ever do it? Did Connor Siebold ever do it? All of that you can check out over at thednvr.com. You can check out all of our content on Twitter at DNVR_Rockies, at Patrick D. Lyons is where I can be found. And this has been quite momentous, especially anytime we get somebody for the first time joining us on the show like Aaron McBride of Blake Street Banter. But unfortunately, you know what they say about momentum. It's only as good as your next show. So we will talk to you tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on the DNVR Sports Channel live on YouTube.